Why, look at what we have here, folks!
On the line, I have resident OTT announcer Butch to talk about, first of all, contenders, and then we'll look ahead to the Easter weekend shows. Butch, how are you, man?
I'm fantastic, enjoying my Friday off.
And you're spending it talking to me. I can't help but just feel a little honoured by that, man. Thanks for taking the time out to speak to us today. So, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about contenders just last week. Of course, Contender 7. It was also sort of in coordination with the Outer Space Odyssey show that was unfortunately cancelled due to the bad weather. A really, really fantastic show. Now, I didn't get to go to it myself, but I caught up on the OTT on demand service, and some fantastic matches.
Oh, brilliant! It was a fantastic show because it did have the contenders feel, but also you had the mix of, you also had the mix of like the star power with the Kings of the North, Aussie Open, and the 6-man tag match that was meant to be at Outer Space Odyssey, which got interrupted by the snow. But yeah, it was good. It was a great mix, and Jonah Rock as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jonah Rock for sure. That match, I don't know how Terry Thatcher's still alive after that, but I hear he's still breathing.
He is. His chest is still a bit raw, but he's still breathing. He's still going, and he's still training very hard, I hear.
Yeah, for sure. And as we saw during the event, he went out there to try and impress William Humperdinck to try and get involved in the NLW title bracket, and I'm sure he would have been impressed by Terry's showing and resilience, especially throughout the match.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was brilliant. I mean, he did impress, and this is not that many people know this, but this is going to be Terry Thatcher's second attempt at going for the NLW Heavyweight Championship. Now, he does have 3 matches to get there, I think. He has some pretty hard obstacles, but in May of 2015, Extreme Super Show, he actually just, Paul Tracy was in the ring and he just challenged him to a match there and then on the spot and had an NLW title match.
Wow, I did not know that now myself either. So probably in the bracket, he's probably the most experienced in it, going for the title anyway. Albeit it might have just been one match, but that experience does count when it comes going for a title.
It's him and Doug Williams. Doug Williams has 20 years experience, and then you've Justy. I'm sorry, and Terry Thatcher. It's incredible. It's incredible the amount of experience that has been mixed in with these lads.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. That's the mix alone. It just is perfect for the contender shows itself, because that's what we've seen from all these shows so far. We've seen the experience mixing with the youth and showing them what is to come in Irish wrestling, especially. And that now that you mentioned it as well. Mentioned it during the show, or during what you just said there when we're talking about the up and coming, the tag match between Nathan Martin and Darren Carney from More Than Hype going up against the Legit 100 of Michael May and Curtis Murray. I think that match as well just shows how healthy of a spot that Irish wrestling's in right now.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, these are 4 lads that have kind of been training for between a year and a couple of years, and really being able to showcase what they can do, And I thought it was great. And Legit 100, no matter what combination they're in, it's fantastic. As is More Than Hype. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we see that Nathan and Darren especially have this bond with LJ as well, and it's a great team.
Yeah, exactly, and especially with the guys training together over there at Fight Factory too. They definitely have gotten a bond there together, and we obviously saw as well with the other member you just mentioned, LJ winning the gender neutral title against Seshmont Martina and the fabulous Nikki.
Fantastic. It was a fantastic reaction, and I'd be lying if I said he didn't deserve it, but he did. He's one Irish wrestler who's been trying to, like bringing out his personality and what he can do. And he's been doing that a couple of years in kind of underground of in Irish wrestling, and now he's in OTT, and like he took the ball and he ran with it. I know Session Martina is a bit devastated, you know, because she would have loved to go to Japan with that gender neutral championship, but you know she can't help but have respect for LJ.
Yeah, exactly, and I think one match in particular, I think that sort of cemented LJ's place in sort of the forefront of Irish wrestling was the match that he had just actually a homecoming most recently against Trent Seven.
Yeah, I mean, like, Trent Seven is really he's like been around years and years. He is like represented the WWE UK brand. And he's also like, as a person, he's this like man who is always trying to think of like unique ways of like, I know, but it's like he's a very unique person like LJ. You know, he has this like unique humor and a unique presence about himself that makes him lovable, as does LJ as well. And like going in with WWE UK superstar Trent Seven and not feeling a lick of nerves, I mean, my God, that was incredible.
I know, and well, actually, it segues nicely into the main reason actually why we have you on today is to actually look forward to the Easter weekend shows. First of all, on Saturday, March 31st with Martina's Gaff party, and then on the 1st of April with the all-female show Defiant. And we'll start off with the Martina's house party on the Saturday, and seeing that we're talking about LJ, it's actually quite appropriate maybe to just talk about one of the matches that was scheduled. It was going to be a triple threat between TK Cooper, obviously Session Martina, and Joey Janela for the gender neutral title, but because of what happened at Contender 7, could we possibly see now LJ being brought into that match as a fatal four-way?
Well, there is a lot of talk, and especially LJ has been vocal on that as well. He put up a picture on Twitter of his face in the graphic. To be honest, though, if LJ is added to the match, it would add the prize of the gender neutral championship, what it originally was. If he's not added to the match, it's still a great match. But I think the LJ and the want of the gender neutral championship in that match will make it that bit better.
Yeah.
And that's not taken away from the three competitors. I mean, the three competitors in that match are absolutely phenomenal. You know, and it'll be a big test to LJ. Although he did face Trent Seven, which was a big, you know, with two incredible athletes like TK Cooper making his OTT debut, I've been a bit vocal in his praise because he is just. I was blown away by a match of his last year. It was a tag team match with Travis Banks against their ring camp. The team of Walter and Axel Dieter Jr. Yeah. And Joey Janela came to OTT, and he's one of them people that he is like LJ and a bit like Trent. He's always unique. He's always trying to think of new things to, you know, to establish in a wrestling match. Obviously, like, he's known for his hardcore stuff, but other than that, he is incredible technically as well. So I'm excited to see what happens if the title and LJ is added into the match. What will happen? But as it stands, if it stands a triple threat, that's still a really great match as well.
Exactly. All 3 or 4 competitors will definitely have a great match together for sure. And I feel like Joey, obviously, he made his debut a little while ago. Now at this stage, it was at the Vendetta show, I believe. Since then, I think there has been sort of a clamour to get him back. He definitely made an impression when he was here last time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he definitely did, and like it was great that he was added in with Angel Cruz, because him and Angel Cruz are a lot alike, because, you know, they have this crazy mind. They have this kind of they like to use the environment to their advantage. They like to use weapons to their advantage. And it was good to see them in the same match at the same time. But also, Joey Janela is pretty hot in wrestling right now. As apparently, well, not apparently, like, loads of people are saying that his WrestleMania weekend show is going to be the biggest show that weekend. And, you know, Hopefully, maybe he'll look at some OTT heads. I know Martina is on that show in New Orleans. Hopefully, there's more OTT heads.
Yeah, there's
on the show.
As far as I'm aware, I could be wrong, but isn't Jordan booked to be on a show WrestleMania weekend in America anyway?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he is. A lot of people over in America represented OTT this year, and it's great to see Jordan Deschamont go over there. Also, like I'm very happy that Joey Janela is willing to come back as well, and I'm so happy that like OTT have been making friends with like these different people who have like heavy ties to different promotions, which kind of it leads to more kind of cross promotional work. I know we have a deal with Rev Pro, and we've worked with Fight Club Pro before, and so like it's great that we were able to have these healthy relationships. Yeah,
and now that you mentioned it as well there, you mentioned Angel Cruz. Will move on to one of the other matches, and probably the most heartwarming moment of Contenders this past week was seeing the Angel Cruisers get back together, and now they're going into the tag team title hunt, where they're going to be facing Kings of the North for the number one contendership for the tag team titles.
This is one of them matches where either outcome will please the OTT crowd.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
It's been a dream match since the formation of the Angel Cruisers, and we're getting it. And we're getting it on Martina's Gaff party, which is one of the biggest nights on the OTT calendar. Like I know we do have a lot of shows, but there's something great and crazy about the Gaff party that everyone wants to shine, and the session is inviting all her friends, and I know she has a good connection with the Angel Cruisers. And I know she has great respect for the Kings of the North, who have been around as long as she has. So it's going to be brilliant. It's going to be brilliant, no matter the results. Everyone's going to leave happy with it. And I'd say the biggest thing to be happy about is how the match will be. And I fully expect it to be a stormer.
Yeah, I think we did. Just going back, we did see it before in a 6-man though, wasn't it, with Joey Janela and the Angel Cruisers? I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did.
But we haven't seen 2-on-2. Yeah.
2-on-2, and to be honest though, it did add a bit of an excitement with Joey Janela and Duncan Disorderly in there. But this is kind of, I know Angel Cruisers had the title shot before with Janela, but I think now they really want to prove themselves. They're back, and I feel like this is going to be a lot, not really angry Angel Cruisers, but a more determined one.
Exactly.
A team who are willing to do anything in their power to get themselves another title shot. And will it be at Scrappermania? Hopefully. That'll be good. Angel Cruisers or Kings of the North title shot at Scrappermania. Either one of them possibilities will be fantastic.
Exactly. I have my fingers crossed for maybe, hopefully, even a triple threat. You'd love a triple threat between the three teams. That would be fantastic.
You never know.
Never know. Exactly. I'm not the booker. I just have my fancy booking, and I'll just keep it that way. It's grand.
Don't we all, though? Don't we all?
Exactly. And we'll move on to Ireland's one-man wrestling machine. That's what I like to call him. If he wants to use that nickname, it's fine. Scotty Davis is going up against Mark Haskins.
Oh, that's a juicy one. I mean, that's a match where probably Scotty Davis, the original contender, as I like to call him, he competed in the first contender match at OTT, and now he's going up against former NLW champion, and it'll be a great boost because Scotty Davis is going for that prize now. Mark Haskins holding the NLW belt back when it was the prestigious belt, and it still is the prestigious belt, but it was the top belt in the company. And I think Scotty Davis and him are going to have a great match, and it's going to be the coming out party of Scotty Davis.
Yeah, for sure. It was unfortunate. Obviously, he couldn't have the match with Travis Banks at Contenders, but he had nonetheless a fantastic match with Tucker, of course, who was in the UK Championship for anyone that isn't aware. We'll move on to then current OTT World Heavyweight Champion Jordan Devlin is going up against the debuting Angelico from Lucha Underground.
Yeah, Lucha Underground. Angelico has been kind of like dipping his feet in the UK scene for a few years. Now he's doing a lot more in the UK. You see him in Fight Club as pretty much a regular now. Rev Pro, he's doing a couple of stuff in other promotions, and I have been like excited to see him for ages and ages. And we get to see him now, and he's going up against Jordan Devlin. It's a non-title match, but you know, if Angelico impresses or even beats Jordan Devlin, then he has to be a contender. Has to be a contender for that belt. But no, he's a fantastic athlete, and it's great that we can have him. And I'm excited to see how he's going to do. And I predict that he's going to do really well.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with so close to Scrapper Mania, any sort of win against the champ would definitely put him in the title picture for such a big show in May too.
Oh yeah.
But we'll see what happens. Of course, if people remember correctly from the Homecoming show as well, Zack Sabre Jr. came out when Jordan was being presented with his new title. So maybe there's some little something there too. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. So Zack Sabre Jr. looked like he was licking his lips at the opportunity.
Yeah.
You never know. Could that be? That's a dream match.
Exactly. And of course,
it doesn't matter where it happens. Like,
yep.
It could happen at Scrapper Mania, it could happen at a Tivoli show, could happen even at a Contenders if one day Zack Sabre Jr. turns up. No matter what the stage is, it's going to blow the house down.
Exactly, and fresh off winning the New Japan Cup as well. Definitely Zack Sabre Jr. knows about winning, and he's definitely going to, if he comes for Jordan's going to have a real test on his hands for sure. We'll move away from Martina's Gaff party, and we're going to move on to the Defiant show. April 1st, Sunday, April 1st, Easter Sunday, the first all-female wrestling show in Ireland, of course in the Tivoli Theatre as well. An absolutely stacked card as well. Qualifying matches on the night to determine a fatal four-way for the OTT Women's Championship at the end of the night. This is going to be a huge show and a landmark show as well.
Oh, landmark, definitely. It's a long time coming that women's wrestling has come to the peak that it is at, like where people have the demands to see an all-female show. I feel is like it's just phenomenal, and this next Sunday is going to like prove why. There are some fantastic athletes, a couple we've seen before, a couple of new faces, but I think the new faces to OTT are a bit familiar to like the casual independent wrestling fan. Charlie Morgan, she's been brewing up a storm. Charlie Evans came over to the UK, been doing fantastically. Sammy James, like she is one of the front runners in UK independent wrestler. Nina Samuels, who I'm so excited to see back, she did very well when she made her debut last March. Now she's back, and she had a bit of an injury that sidelined her for a good half of last year. And, you know, Dash Chizako as well, something that, like, that's incredible. Like, you know, that's a huge women's wrestler there, as Chris Wolf is as well. Yeah. You know, it's a fantastic lineup.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll start with the contenders match. But, well, actually, before we move on to not the contenders match, sorry, the qualifying matches. But before we do, the fact you've mentioned so many names there as well, and the fact that on this show alone as well, there's going to be 5 Irish females too. Is just great also, because we always mention about how healthy the independent scene is or how healthy the Irish wrestling scene is, I should say, and just to have 5 women on this show alone, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, oh yeah, and like this is don't think that this is the only Irish women's wrestlers we have. A few there's a lot more I know that are coming up that are still in their training process who will, like, you know, brew up a storm as soon as they are ready to compete. But the 5 we have here are just like incredible. They're just like, and these are 5 people who have like worked themselves so hard. They've worked so hard on themselves, improving, and they deserve to be where they're at now.
Exactly. And we'll start off with 2 of the 5 females in the qualifying matches. It's the returning Katie Harvey, who's been out obviously with an injury for the last while. She's finally back in an OTT ring, going up against the debuting Valkyrie as well. And Valkyrie is definitely someone that I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Match, actually. She was in the...
Oh, second, sorry, yeah.
Sixth man, yeah. She was in that sixth person in WrestleMania Belfast.
Yeah. She was.
Valkyrie, known half-sister of William J. Humperdinck, decided to go off on an excursion, decided to train harder, and make it to OTT as a competitor. And now, look at her.
Yeah.
She's been doing stuff in other places, and, you know, that's why she's on this card, because of, like, how she's impressed in other places. Now she's going to impress in the Tivoli. Exactly.
And not just obviously here in Ireland, but also abroad. They've been taking part in in Germany too. And this match for sure, especially with Katie Harvey returning, former women's champion as well, she will definitely want to get her hands back on that belt too, or maybe get her hands back on Martina as well, just for taking the belt in the first place.
Yeah. Like, Katie Harvey has been a great ambassador, as is Deshima, for women's wrestling in Ireland. You know, Katie Harvey has built up like a good reputation in the UK, made a lot of contacts there. So she's brought in there from time to time. Very big in Germany, and like the German wrestling scene, especially in the past couple of months, have been like hot.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's great. It's great to see that. It's great to see that we have someone that's waving the Irish flag over there. And Katie Harvey, she does have a lot to prove, and she has proved that she can run as the front runner of the women's wrestling division in OTT, and she wants that crown back. She considers herself a queen, and then we get to see what the queen can do. Can she reclaim her OTT crown? You have to wait and see.
Exactly, and we'll move on to the some of the other qualifying matches as well, and two women that have probably had one of the best rivalries of the last year as well, not just in OTT but in other places, like you said too. Debbie Cattell against Raven Creed.
This is I had a word with Debbie after the match, and I said, this is a full circle moment for you. This is like, you wrestled in some of Ireland's smallest venues, like in front of a handful of people. Now they are going up in the Tivoli, which is kind of the centre stage for Irish wrestling. Mm-hmm. The National Stadium is the biggest stage, but this place has become so synonymous with wrestling that they want to prove it there. And especially with a card like that in front of all those like talented wrestlers on there tonight, and they want to show that they can run with them. So I'm excited to see how it goes, and I'm very happy for them both that they are being able to showcase this at Defiant.
Yeah, exactly. So it's for people that wouldn't be aware, like the Tivoli for OTT wrestling and taking part in that, it'd be sort of like maybe like a boxer getting to fight in Madison Square Garden. It's just that big.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I agree with you there. It is like they wanted it. Everyone wants the Tivoli. There's something about it, like, you know, and everyone wants the stadium, but like the Tivoli is the best stepping stone to get to the stadium. Exactly.
And we'll mention the other qualifying match, two women that you talked about at the start as well. Nina Samuels against Sami Zayn as well.
Nina Samuels is like fantastic. She is like, her background is a mixture of lucha libre to, you know, lucha libre, and she could go very well technically as well. Sami Zayn, one of the front runners of women's wrestling in the UK, as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
She's current Pro Wrestling Eve champion, which is the biggest UK promotion, and I must give props to them. They're doing a huge show in York Hall in May, and that's fantastic for them. York Hall is one of the biggest venues for UK wrestling. Rev Pro run there, but fantastic for Pro Eve, and their champion is coming over to wrestle for OTT, and that's fantastic because Sami Zayn is fantastic, Nina Samuels is fantastic. It's just going to be a great match.
Yeah, it will be for sure. But it's not just qualifying matches that are on that night as well. We've also got two other very high-profile matches too. Tag team match with Charlie Morgan and Charlie Evans going up against the team of Laura DiMatteo and Chris Wolf. And I'm sure everybody's excited to see Chris Wolf back again.
Chris Wolf has to be one of the most happiest people I've met in my life. She is someone that just loves wrestling and loves being around people. Like, she is such a sweetheart, and you know, she does have, you know, the viciousness as well when she's in the ring. You know, she's not like one of the hardest hitting people I've ever seen as well, and it's good to have her back. Like, it was a long time coming that she was going to be back. She was vocal about coming back, and she's back. She's with Laura DiMatteo, who is fantastic. She was under the wing of Ginny for a while, and then she did her own thing and has been doing fantastically for herself. Another hot contender in Eve. And I mentioned about the big Pro Wrestling Eve show in your call. Sami Zayn is defending her belt against Charlie Morgan, who's in that match. Charlie Morgan is a fan favourite. Lots of people love her. I mean, they love her energy, they love her look. Charlie Evans is also a person that, like, everyone loves. She just looks like she's just a very talented wrestler and a very good. Yeah, people just love them. And everyone just loved the Charlies.
Yeah,
that's it.
Exactly. We get the two Charlies. That's what we're gonna team of Charlies or something. We'll have to think of something clever on the night.
Yeah, that's what. And you know, they're both incredible.
Yeah,
they're both incredible.
And then also one of the other matches is Jordan Grace from Canada, I believe, if I'm right. Yes, I gotta say yes.
I think she's American, but yeah. Other than that,
otherwise, it's from across the pond. Against Dash Chizako from Stardom, and I can just already hear it there. You're just really looking forward to this match.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Dash Chizako, like, it's good that there's two promotions in Japan. There's Stardom and Sendai Girls, which are like the two big dogs in Japan. And we get to have a great representative for Stardom in Chris Wolf, and Dash Chizako for Sendai Girls. It's fantastic. And Jordan Grace has also been, like, Jordan Grace, I only found out that she is 22 years of age, and she's already done so much.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Like, 22 and doing that much. I'm 22 myself.
I'm 26 and I haven't done anything. Now I feel great. It's
like what's football nowadays. Like, when you reach your 20s, you realise that nearly all the talented footballers are younger than you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've gone training a couple of times. Just quickly, sorry to change the subject, but I've gone training a couple of times with the likes of like Nathan and Darren, and like Nathan's still only 17. I think Darren only turned 20 recently, and I'm just looking at it. It's unfair how talented they are at such a young age.
Yeah, I know, but like, you know, they've been just fantastic.
They are.
It's like it was given to them. Their talent was just, they were born with it.
Exactly.
And Jordan Grace, you know, she is she's in phenomenal shape.
Yeah.
Like, and she can definitely, she's a big powerhouse as well. You know, I can't wait to see her go up against Dash. I think that's going to be a crowd pleaser.
Yeah. And then, of course, everything leads to the main event, the Fatal 4-Way. Like I said, the current OTT Women's Champion, Seshima Martina, against the winners of the 3 qualifying matches earlier on in the night.
I think, though, I must say this because, like, it's a very kind of hot topic now in wrestling. But Seshima Martina, you know, you think because she has the belt, you know, she's there. She still has something to prove. She has been kind of in the cusp of criticism from certain individuals on social media, which is, now I'm not saying like majority, but, you know, a handful. And it has quite, like, you know, it's something that she feels like she needs to prove now, to prove them people wrong, because she doesn't know where it went wrong. I personally don't see, like, she hasn't slowed down in any way. She hasn't gotten bad.
No.
If anything, she's gotten better, but there's people that have, you know, been kind of being very vocal about the displeasure nowadays, which I find it kind of hard to believe, and maybe you do as well. Because I felt like she's always been loved, and then I've just been hearing some things that are like I find really hard to believe, like people are thinking about, you know.
Yeah, I definitely found it very strange. Especially when there was so much criticism revolved around her match announcement with Pete Dunne, especially, and I didn't get it as well, because I like, obviously we're both wrestling fans. Everyone that listens to the show is wrestling fans, and like wrestling for me myself is like sort of like a form of art form, and there's different types of it, and this was just another form, and what a different type of it. And why can't people just like enjoy it? Because Pete Dunne is a fantastic wrestler who has his style, obviously, that will like beat you up no problem, and Martina has her style as well, that she can do sort of. She's great in the ring, but if she needs to do any sort of comedy bits as well, she can do that too. Like, she has a great range of different styles, and I just thought like these two could work perfect together.
Like Session Martina, despite like her whole aura about her, she is one of the hardest hitting people in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she can pretty much match Pete Dunne with intensity.
Yeah,
and it's the people who think now, and I say this now, that, like, you know, you can like whatever style of wrestling you want, you can have your different opinion, but it's also kind of like, you really have to, I don't think, the way people are going on, I don't think they actually fully understand wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people already know that it's crazy, and if you try and like take away from the fact that it's crazy and try and think of it as this black and white thing, you won't enjoy it as much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel you really have to understand it as this kind of mad thing. And, like, in theory, this match worked. That match worked. Like, when you had two people who basically were on top of their OTT game at the same time. Like, when Pete Dunne was NOW champion, Sasha Martina became women's champion for the first time.
Yeah.
Think of that. And both have been around. And you know, it's like, you know, it's just people and like their different opinions. I personally I believe, like, say you and Dave to be people who like report on wrestling, which is great, and it's great that we have in Ireland someone to cover wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, you know, there's people there that they try and think too critical, and they try and, you know, be very journalistic about it. Be kind of like. Do you read, like, say, the even Herald, or you listen to like some other sports radio shows? They might have like a former footballer, or even watching like a match on RTE. They have
mm-hmm.
like their panelists, and there's people that try and be that who like has never really kind of like, you've had like wrestling experience, and you know how crazy it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I know. I just think people should really kind of sit back and enjoy. That's kind of an approach I've taken. If I want to, like, there's times I just want to watch, like, a classic, like, Shibata match.
Yeah.
Or I'd want to watch kind of, like, a Colt Cabana match or a Chuck Taylor match. I will. I just, like, enjoy all forms of wrestling, and I respect every match for what it is.
I think that, I know what you mean. It's just, I think that the fact that a lot of people want to associate wrestling with reality, and they can't sort of, like, they can't have a go-between. They can't separate that. So if someone gets clobbered on the head with a chair, people think, well, why isn't he like dead or something like that? But you know,
that's the crazy thing about wrestling. I'm sorry for cutting you off. That is like kind of to understand what wrestling is and something like that. And I do find it a bit, like, you know, heartbreaking that the session mat isn't like 90% of a crowd appreciates her for what she is,
mm-hmm.
and that is incredible. Like, she's going to Japan, she deserves every bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also heartbreaking to see how some people have been talking about her. You know,
I know.
I don't think any wrestler in general deserves like some, because I did hear she went over to Germany. German crowds loved her, and there was Irish there that like were the only people that were showing her displeasure towards it.
I did hear a few things about that, all right, and it kind of is upsetting that if people would go to that lengths to sort of like just to sort of criticize someone. Like, obviously we get the fact that like when there's a heel you boo them, we get that. But like if you're booing someone just for just because you don't like their style, or you don't like you just don't like them. What? First of all, why are you there in the first place?
Yeah, like I'm like someone who, like, if I watch football and if the team I support are doing terrible, I don't say anything. I just stay quiet because I'm not an expert. I'm not a former footballing, like, you know, expert. I'm just I have done like sports shows in the past, but I've never been like one to like say this is what the manager should do. And if I don't like the way someone plays, I don't like really be vocal about it. I don't say why it's terrible. And, you know, there is people that are terrible about opinions, but all I'm saying about the people that travel, you know, not many people like the way Conor McGregor goes on, but I support Conor McGregor because he waves the Irish flag. He is someone, like, representing our country, giving it the name that it is. And, you know, he's a local lad.
Yeah.
And I support him either way. And it's like your football team. You might meet one of your favourite football players from Ireland. They might not be the nicest person, per se, but you'll support them because they're playing for your country.
Exactly. I know it actually is a really good comparison to what you're saying there. Like, your team's not doing well. Okay, you may be upset, but we're not in the position to be saying, okay, right. So, for example, Jose Mourinho needs to be doing this, or he needs to be playing more attacking football and stuff like that. You know, like, you can have that discussion in the pub or something like that if you're with like friends and stuff. That's absolutely fine. But taking it to the point that some people are on social media, where they're actually just they're targeting. That's what it is. It's not even like they're just it's passing by criticism. They're targeting, and it's constant, which is the horrible thing about it.
Like you know, just kind of, it's people who are being offended for some other people. Yeah. A man there.
And what's the old thing we were always taught by our grannies? If you don't have anything nice to say nothing at all.
Exactly.
You know,
that's it. Enjoy the bits you do like, and it's good to see though that these people do like a lot of elements in wrestling. But I feel like they should really kind of, you know, just take it for what it is.
Yeah, I think a lot of it maybe is to do with the fact that so many people are used to the old style, and this sort of this evolving of, like, you know, not just men going against women, but different styles of wrestling too, that they can't get their head around it, and they want to go back to the Attitude Era. I think that's what it is. I think a lot of it is the Attitude Era.
The Attitude Era is something that happened.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, it's different stages. It's like WCW. WCW is something that happened.
Yeah.
It can't be replicated again.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. I totally agree. And now I know myself, like, if from listening to the show, you might be aware that I give my criticisms on WWE sometimes, saying that, okay, some Attitude Era booking was better, but I understand what you're saying as well, that, like, there is a progression involved in it too, and I think we do see that progression, especially in the indie scene, and I think it's just time, like, even the progression from, say, the Young Bucks having their web series to coordinate with their booking at the moment. It's something
that's keeping up with the times.
Yeah, exactly.
That's keeping up with the times, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, people have been wondering about the OTT women's show and saying, like, why hasn't the women's belt? Mainly because, right, and I'm going to say this now, because there is a lot of incredible Irish women's wrestlers coming up the ranks now. And we've been waiting for a time like now where we know that we do have a great mix of Irish women's wrestlers who are ready to do it. But, like, we don't want to give people the same every month. We want to be different, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it was just a fluke that Sechemot won the women's belt, but everyone was, like, looking at these intergender matches. They were becoming popular. Like, Fight Club Pro have had a woman go up for their top title. Yeah. And despite of who she is, Sexy Star, despite what she done, she was a world champion in Lucha Underground. Yeah.
She sort of started this, really, wasn't it, herself?
Yeah. She's one of them. She is one of them. Like, you know, not saying that she's like.
Oh, she wasn't the one, but yeah, she was one of the pioneers for sure of it. And I know, I know that you mentioned it as well there about the women's title, the fact that obviously it wasn't been defended, and I know Joe mentioned it as well when he had a Q&A on his Twitter account a little while ago too, saying that more title defences are coming, which is great to see as well, because obviously we want to see, I'm sure fans want to see the title defended when they go to the shows, and to see it, especially with this show, all of it culminating into a title match at the end, I think is definitely something that that will please everyone going there and everyone that watches it on the OTT the on-demand service the following week.
If this doesn't prove any point to like some people who have been doubting, then I don't know what is. I just have no idea. But like, you know, it's going to be a fantastic weekend.
Yeah.
You know, Easter eggs and wrestling all in one weekend. That's the best combination.
Don't forget the cans. Oh,
cans as well.
Yeah, don't
you
forget.
See, no, but you see, that's why I envy you. You can enjoy the alcohol.
Yeah.
But I can't. But to be honest, though, my displeasure for not being able to drink is replaced with my pleasure of being in the ring. So I don't mind one bit.
Yeah, you get to introduce everybody at the weekend. That sounds like a so much better job. I'm not going to take that now where you don't get to drink, right? No, but we're not having that now.
No, because I hear people like that work at bars being like, "Oh, it's terrible, I don't get to drink," and I'm like, I don't mind. I'm doing something that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. You're in the ring there beside Foxy, introducing all these great competitors, and then look afterwards, have a couple of drinks, and then everything's grand.
Yeah,
I'll be fine. Don't even worry about it. But listen, we are way over time, but thanks so much, Butch, for coming on, for previewing the shows, and for a little debate too. I liked how it naturally progressed into that. Just before I must
apologise. I must apologise how it went to that move, but there is a lot of wrestling on in one weekend. Yeah, we have to fill it all in.
Exactly. And anytime we get to have a debate like that, I'm always for. But just before we let you go, we'll just mention the shows one more time. Martina's Gaff Party, Saturday, March 31st in the Tivoli Theatre. Defiant all-female show, the first all-female show in Ireland. April 1st, Easter Sunday, also in the Tivoli. There are some tickets available for both shows, I believe, on eventbrite.ie. Yeah.
Yeah, there is tickets available. Make sure you get them, because I think they might be saved for Easter presents for a few people. So I reckon if you get some now,
yeah, for sure,
you could be in luck.
For sure, and make sure do bring your Easter eggs, and if you can sneak Butch a little sneaky sip when he's watching the matches, then that's all right. No, I'm not going to get you in trouble. I won't do that. But if you have any Easter eggs, you can send them to him, or you can send them to me. I don't mind. I'll have them too. Listen, Butch, enjoy the shows. I'm sure we'll be talking again soon, or we'll probably see each other at the shows too as well. All right?